The sky over the city was bright and full of noise. Ships flew low above crowded streets, their engines humming like tired machines. Princess Zala watched from her ship's glass window. She had traveled across many stars and she had seen wonders beyond measure. But Earth was nothing like the worlds she knew. The buildings here were made of dull metal and glass. The people spoke too loudly and wore clothes that looked warm but looked rough to her eyes. Cala turned away and folded her arms. She felt a cold anger in her chest. How could such a planet survive in the vast cosmos? How could its people call themselves advanced when they lived in such chaos? She touched the small pendant at her neck, a gift from her father, the king of Vyre. The pendant glowed with a soft blue light that reminded her of home. Home was calm, home was ordered. Earth was neither. Lieutenant John Carter stood beside her. He had dark hair that reached his collar and strong shoulders that filled his uniform. He kept his face calm, but his eyes held concern. He spoke in a low voice. Princess, this world is very different. I know you do not like it, but the people here mean no harm. Zala did not answer. She watched a group of humans below arguing in a strange metal room they called a station. They waved their arms and shouted words she could not understand. One of them struck another, and both stumbled. The crowd around them cried out and pushed forward. Zala shivered and stepped back. John rose an eyebrow. They have troubles, but you will learn to understand them. Your mission is to learn, not to judge. Zala lifted her chin. Judge? I do not judge, Lieutenant. I only observe. I see folly. I see disorder. I see weakness. John sighed. He had learned long ago that the princess spoke plainly. She valued truth over politeness, but he feared her words would cause harm. Later, Zala walked through a narrow corridor with John as her escort. The corridor walls glowed with soft lights that changed color as people passed. Each light showed a different mood: curiosity, joy, fear. Today, the walls glowed bright red for annoyance. Zala touched one panel and the light flared. She felt a flicker of irritation inside her. John guided her into a larger room. This is the council hall, he said. You will meet Earth leaders here. Be polite, Princess? Zala nodded, though her lips pressed tightly. She disliked human leaders. They wore fine clothes, but their faces looked tired. They spoke with careful words that hid their true thoughts. The doors at the far end opened, and a group of humans entered. A tall man in a dark suit stepped forward. He bowed slightly. Princess Zala, welcome to Earth. I am David Lawson, chair of the Earth Council. We are honored by your visit. Zala bowed her head in return. She kept her voice soft but firm. Chairman Lawson, thank you for your welcome. Earth is ... different from my home. I will watch and learn. Chairman Lawson smiled politely. We hope you find our world worthy. We have much to show you. Zala's eyes swept the room. She saw fear and hope in the faces around her. She felt no sympathy for their hopes. She thought only of her study and of her duty to report back to her father. That night, Zala could not sleep. She lay in her room, a wide space with pale walls and clear glass showing the sky. She watched the bright blue planet below and felt only cold. Her thoughts turned to home. She thought of green forests and gentle rivers. She thought of quiet nights under twin moons. John entered without knocking. Zala did not look surprised. He held a small tray with food. Humans called it dinner. He placed it on a low table. Princess, I thought you might be hungry, he said. Zala sat up. I do not need food. I will observe through the night. John smiled. You can observe better with strength in your body. Even a princess needs rest? Zala stared at him. She did not trust rest. She did not trust humans. But she felt the truth of his words. Her stomach growled. She reached for a piece of fruit on the tray. It was soft and sweet. She bit it and closed her eyes. The taste was strange, but not unpleasant. John watched her and said, I know you despise this world. But I hope one day you will find something here worth saving. Zala looked at him. She did not answer. She did not need to. A human soldier had risked time and effort to care for her. She felt a flicker of respect. The next morning, Zala followed John out of her room. She wore a simple dress of pale blue that matched her pendant's glow. They walked down a hall filled with sunlight. People paused and bowed as they passed. John said, "Today you will see the city market. It is where Earth people trade goods and share news. Remember to stay close." Zala raised an eyebrow. "I will observe from a distance." John nodded. He led her to a large door. Beyond it lay a vast open space under a glass dome. Stalls lined the edges, each bright with colors and signs. Humans bustled about, carrying baskets, calling out offers. The air smelled of spices and fresh bread. Zala stepped inside. She moved slowly along the edge. She watched a merchant sell glowing stones. The stones pulsed with orange light. She touched one, and it felt warm. She frowned. On Vaya, such stones were used only in sacred halls. Here they were a common trade good. John stood beside her. Earth uses natural wonders in many ways. You must learn their value. Zala looked at him. She felt a strange curiosity. She asked, "Why do they care for these stones?" John smiled. "Because they believe beauty can be found in small things. Even in hardship, they seek light." Zala closed her eyes. She heard the merchants' calls, the laughter of children, the hum of the dome's air system. She felt the warmth of the stones in her hand. For the first time, Zala wondered if Earth was as worthless as she had believed. As they left the market, Zala looked back at the crowd. She saw a child trip and fall. People rushed to help. The child cried softly, and a mother scooped him up and held him tight. Zala studied the scene. On Vaya, children were guarded by crystal walls and hover drones. Here, people used only their hands. She turned to John. "They care for one another, that is, dotable." John nodded. "It is part of what makes Earth strong." Zala did not answer. She walked in silence, but inside her mind, a change had begun. The princes who despised Earth now carried a seed of doubt. Zala walked alone through the quiet halls of the human outpost. She said she wanted to see Earth without her escort. Lieutenant John Carter had warned her against it, but she wished to prove her strength. She moved with quiet steps, her pale blue dress whispering against the floor. Outside, the city burned with life. Lights glowed in the distance and sounds echoed down empty streets. Zala inhaled the air. It smelled of metal and rain. She held her head high. She did not fear humans. Now, she believed herself safe. Below, a market square lay crowded. Vendors sold food and art. Music drifted from an open door. Zala descended a stairway carved of gray stone. She felt the pulse of the city. John had ordered soldiers to secure the area, but he stayed above on the walkway. He watched Zala's ship. In the sky, he saw her shadow fall among the people. He felt a surge of dread. He raised his hand to call her back, but he did not. Zala moved closer to the crowd. She watched a soldier argue with a merchant over fruit. The merchant's voice rose. His anger grew like a storm. Suddenly, two human workers rushed past her. One tripped and fell onto a stack of crates. The crates tipped and a metal beam slid toward Zala. She did not see it. John saw the beam from above. He dropped over the railing at a run. He landed beside Zala. He grabbed her arm and pushed her out of the beam's path. The beam crashed into the ground where she stood moments before. Zala stumbled to her knees. Her heart pounded. She turned to John. Her eyes wide, she whispered, "You saved me." John knelt beside her. His uniform was dirty and his breathing quick. He said, "Princess, you cannot wander alone. This world is full of danger." She stood unsteady. Silence filled the square. People paused their tasks and stared. The beating of drums from a nearby band faded. John helped Zala step back. He kept his voice calm. "We will return to the outpost. You will stay with me." Zala did not speak. She touched the spot where the beam scratched the ground. She saw a deep groove etched into the stone. John guided her across the square. Zala followed. She did not protest. They reached the outpost entrance. Soldiers saluted as they passed. Zala saw relief on their faces. She did not know Earth spoke fear as well as hope. John led Zala into a small room. He closed the door behind them. The walls glowed soft green. Zala turned to him. She stood tall, but her hands trembled. She said, "Why did you risk yourself for me? You did not know if I would thank you." John looked at her. He said, "I did not think, I only acted." "You are under my care?" Zala held her breath. She felt a new feeling in her chest. It was warmth, not cold. She met John's eyes. She spoke in a soft voice. "Thank you, Lieutenant Carter." John nodded. He offered his hand. She took it. She felt the strength in his grip. In that moment, Zala did not think of fire, of order, of rank. She thought only of the human soldier who risked everything to save her. Outside, the market resumed. The beam was gone. Children laughed and picked up fallen fruit. The world moved on. Inside, Zala and John stood side by side. A bond had been forged. Zala felt her cold anger melt, just a little. She would remember this day. She would remember the soldier. She would remember Earth in a new light. Zala awoke to a gentle humming. Her vision was soft and glowing white. She lay on a wide bed in a bright room. The walls curved like smooth shells. Light came from hidden panels and made everything calm. She tried to sit up but felt the pain in her side. She touched the bandages wrapped there. She remembered the beam in the market square and the human soldier who pushed her away. John Carter stood in the corner. His eyes held relief. He saw Zala move and hurried to her side. He said, "Princess, you are awake. How do you feel?" Zala forced a small nod. She said, "My side still hurts. What happened?" John lifted a tray with water and fruit slices. He placed it on a small table. He answered, "When the beam fell, you were in its path. I saw it and moved you out of harm. You lost blood, but Dr. Brooks cleaned your wounds and wrapped them. She says you will heal well." Zala took a slice of fruit. She bit it. It was soft and sweet. She closed her eyes and let the taste calm her. She felt a strange warmth at the memory of John's hands guiding her away. She opened her eyes. She asked, "Dr. Brooks, may I meet her?" John smiled. "She is outside. She awaits your questions. I will call her in." He stepped away and pressed the control panel. The door whooshed open. Dr. Megan Brooks entered. She wore a white coat over a simple shirt and pants. Her face was kind and her eyes bright. She greeted Zala softly. "Princess, I am glad to see you awake. I know the injury was frightening. You are safe now." Zala watched her. She thought of humans as cold and rough. She expected the doctor to be guided by duty alone. But Dr. Brooks spoke with warmth. Zala sat up slowly. She said, "Thank you, Dr. Brooks. I'm curious about human medicine." "I would learn more." Dr. Brooks nodded. She gestured to the room. "This is a standard healing chamber. The lights help regulate your sleep. The panels monitor your vitals. We use trusted medicines and human skill. But I must admit, some of your alien biology intrigued me. Your cells heal faster than ours." Zala frowned. She touched her side. She said, "Aliens in my world study human life, but I have seen no reason to admire it." Dr. Brooks studied her. She asked, "What makes you say that?" Zala looked away. She said plainly, "I saw chaos and noise. I saw fear and anger. I saw people fight over small things. My home is calm and ordered. Earth is none of those." Dr. Brooks paused. She said, "Earth has flaws, yes, but humans also have strength. When you were hurt, people did not ignore you. They cared. They risked their time and resources. They looked after you. That is a quality worth studying." Zala met the doctor's gaze. She felt something stir. She thought of the soldier who saved her. She thought of the mother who held her child in the market. She thought of the people who paused their tasks when danger struck. She said softly, "Humans care for each other. I saw it today." Dr. Brooks smiled. She said, "We learn from each other every day. Tell me about your world. Maybe we can share knowledge." Zala hesitated. She had come to study, not to trade favors, but she felt the doctor's warmth. She said, "On Vire, order is sacred. We build cities by the rule of symmetry. We solve disputes with logic alone. We seldom show emotion. Doctor, Brooks leaned forward. She said, logic is good. Emotion is good. Too. When they work together, great things happen. Humans have learned that hard. We balance reason with care. Zala considered this. She asked, do you fear emotion? Dar, Brooks shook her head. She said, sometimes it can cloud judgment, but it guides us to help each other. Without emotion, I would not care if you slept or woke. I would not offer medicine to repair your flesh. Zala looked at her bandages. She felt a new respect for this human doctor. She said, I did not expect care from humans. I saw only weakness, Doctor. Brooks placed a hand on Zala's arm. She said gently, sometimes strength is in caring. Sometimes a wound reveals courage. You have courage, princess. You face danger without fear. Now we will help you heal. Zala felt heat rise in her cheeks. She said quietly, thank you. Later, Zala walked with John down a wide hall. She touched the walls as they passed. Each panel glowed with a new color when she passed. She felt calmer than before. John spoke first. You asked why I risked myself. I replied that you were under my care. But the truth is deeper. I believe in protecting life. All life, your life is as precious as any on earth. Zala listened. She walked beside him, her hand lightly holding his arm. She used the gentle pace of humans, not the swift strides of her people. They reached a balcony overlooking the city. Below, sunlight danced on glass towers. Traffic moved like glowing lines. John stood at her side. He said, I come here to think. It reminds me why I serve. Life is fragile. We must protect it. Zala observed the city. She felt noise in the air and life on the ground. She saw people moving with purpose. She said softly, Earth is not orderly. It changes, it grows, it breaks, but it lives. John nodded. He said, yes, and that living makes it worth saving. Zala turned to him. She said, I will learn more. I will. Report to my father that Earth has value? John smiled. He said, that is good, but I hope you will learn even more. I hope you will choose to protect it too. Zala met his gaze. She thought of her pendant glowing blue against her chest. She thought of the soldier's strong arms and kind eyes. She felt her pride soften. She nodded slowly. She said, I will try. For the first time, Zala did not feel cold anger. She felt warmth and hope. She stood beside the human soldier and looked toward a future where two worlds might learn from each other. And in that moment, her heart opened a little to Earth. Zala spent the next morning in the medical wing with Dr. Brooks. She hoped to learn more about human care. But before the meeting began, the lights in the corridor flickered and a klaxon sounded. Dr. Brooks looked alarmed. She said, an alert just came in. A rare alien pathogen was found in our lab. It may spread quickly. I need to secure the area. John entered the wing. He saw the tension. He said, Princess, stay here. I will help Dr. Brooks contain the threat. Zala shook her head. She said, I will not hide. I came to understand Earth. I will stand with you both. John hesitated, then nodded. He led Zala and Dr. Brooks down a long hall to the secure lab. The door sealed behind them with a hiss. Inside. Scientists in protective suits moved quickly. A glowing vial sat on a table. It pulsed with deep purple light. Zala stared. She felt a chill. Dr. Brooks spoke into a panel. We have a sample from an alien species delivered yesterday. We ran tests. It was dormant. Now it shows activity. We must destroy it or risk infection. Zala took a step forward. She said, what if destroying it harms my people? What if the sample is important? Dr. Brooks looked at her. She said, this pathogen can kill both human and alien life. We cannot take that chance. Zala felt a knot in her chest. She turned to John. She said, what do we do? John touched her arm. He said, we secure the veil and remove it to a safe chamber. Then we sterilize this lab. Dr. Brooks, I will follow your lead. Dr. Brooks nodded. She and John placed the vial in an isolation container. The light dimmed as the container locked, but As they worked, a slip of purple liquid dripped onto the floor. It hissed and spread like ink in water. Dr. Brooks shouted. Evacuate now! John grabbed Zala's hand. He led her out the door. The corridor filled with air from the sterilizer system. It smelled sharp. Back in the main hall, Zala coughed. She gasped for air, her vision blurred. John saw her falter. He caught her before she fell. He said, Princess! Dr. Brooks ran to them. She scanned Zala with a handheld device. She frowned. She said, She has been exposed. We must move her to the healing chamber, now. John lifted Zala gently and carried her through the halls. Alarms echoed. In the healing room, Dr. Brooks injected an antiseptic medicine. Zala's skin glowed where the needle pierced. Zala trembled. She whispered, I am ... weak. John knelt beside her bed. He held her hand. He said, You will heal, I promise. I will find a cure. Zala closed her eyes. She felt her strength slip. She saw John's face above her. He showed no doubt. Hours passed. Zala's breathing grew shallow. Dr. Brooks worked by her side. But her expression turned grave. She explained to John, This virus is unlike any human pathogen. Your medicines cannot stop it. We need a specific antibody found only on Vire. John clenched his jaw. He said, There must be a sample in their research archives, somewhere on Earth. Dr. Brooks searched her database. She tapped keys. She said, There is a lab in the mountains. They study alien biology. It may have a sample. But it is remote and not in active use. We can try. John stood. He said, I will lead a team there. We must go now. Zala depends on it. Dr. Brooks hesitated. She said, The journey is dangerous, storms and rough terrain. Are you sure? John met her gaze. He said, I have never been so sure of anything. He turned to Zala's bedside. He said, Softly, Princess, rest now. I will return with what you need. Zala reached for his hand. Her grip was weak, but her eyes were bright. She said, I trust you. Outside the window, night fell over the outpost. The stars shone bright and cold. John gathered supplies. Dr. Brooks prepared a portable lab kit. Together. They set out under twin moons and swirling clouds. Their steps were steady. For Zala, they left a promise behind. She would fight the virus. For John, they carried hope. And in the silent corridors, Earth held its breath. John and Dr. Brooks climbed the rocky path toward the mountain lab. The air grew thin and cold wind bit at their faces. Zala lay in the outpost, weak but alive, trusting them to return in time. The path twisted through jagged rocks. During the day, the sun glared white. At night, the moon cast long shadows. John carried the lab kit carefully. Dr. Brooks held her scanner. Watching for signs of the old facility. After hours, they saw it. A small dome built into the mountain. Its metal was old and rusted. Vines crawled over its sides. The entrance was half buried under snow and ice. John pushed the door. It groaned open. Inside, the lab was empty but intact. Dusty tables held broken machines. A central console glowed faintly. Dr. Brooks activated her scanner. It beeped softly. She said, There is a sample, stored in that cabinet. But its seal is broken. The sample might be unstable. John nodded. He said, We must hurry. Show me where. Dr. Brooks led John to a glass cabinet. Inside was a small vial surrounded by a ring of symbols. The vial pulsed with pale green light. John opened the cabinet. He removed the vial with gloved hands. He held it steady. It felt cool and alive. Dr. Brooks scanned the vial. She said, This is the antibody we need. It counters alien pathogens by binding to their cells. If we can make a serum, it may save. Princess Zala, John studied the vial. He said, We should stabilize it and return, but storms are coming. We must move fast. Outside, wind howled and snow began to fall. They covered the lab's entrance, blocking light. John placed the vial in. The lab kit, he said. We go now. Stay close. Dr. Brooks locked the cabinet. She said, We should have left sooner, but we made it. The real test is whether the serum works. John helped Dr. Brooks through the falling snow. They retraced their steps down the mountain. The storm grew fierce. Snow stung their faces. Visibility dropped. John guided Dr. Brooks by voice. He said, "Step left. Now right. Careful on the ice." "Dr. Brooks responded in the darkness. She said, "I trust you. Hurry, John." They reached a narrow ledge. A gust of wind threatened to push Dr. Brooks off balance. John reached out and caught her arm. He held her steady. She looked at him, grateful. He said, "We will make it. Keep moving." At dawn, they saw the outpost lights below. The cold wind eased. They quickened their pace. Back inside the outpost, Zala fought fever. Dr. Brooks and John burst through the door. Zala's eyes opened at the sound. John knelt at her side and said, "I have it. The antibody. We will make the serum now." Dr. Brooks set up the portable lab on a nearby table. She worked with steady hands. She mixed the antibody with stabilizer and buffer. The serum glowed soft green. John watched anxiously. He whispered, "Please work." Dr. Brooks drew the serum into a syringe. She handed it to John. She said, "It will bind to the virus and stop it from spreading. But you must inject it now." John looked at Zala. Her skin was pale. Her breathing was shallow. He set aside his fear. He pressed the syringe to her arm and pushed the plunger. The serum flowed in. Cla single quotes S. Eyes fluttered. She reached for John's hand. She whispered, "I feel cold. John held her hand tight. He said, "Stay with me." Dr. Brooks monitored the scanner. She said, "Her vitals are rising. The virus is slowing." Zala's color returned. Her breathing steadied. She opened her eyes and focused on John. She smiled weakly. She said, "You came back. You saved me again." John smiled, relief flooding him. He said, "I promised. I will not leave you." Zala closed her eyes. She rested. The storm outside had cleared. Sunlight streamed through the window. Dr. Brooks packed her lab kit. She said, "The serum worked. She will heal fully in time. The record of this antibody will help Earth prepare for any future threats." Zala opened her eyes and saw Dr. Brooks. She said, "Thank you, Doctor." "You risked yourself too." Dr. Brooks shook her head. She said, "We all played a part. This is what it means to care for life. Thank you for trusting us." Zala nodded. She turned to John. She said, "You risked everything again. How can I ever repay?" "You?" John smiled. He said, "Your friendship is enough. Stay and learn with me." Zala looked at him. She felt warmth fill her. She realized Earth had given her more than she expected. Hope, care, and a bond across worlds. She said softly, "I will stay." And in that moment, two worlds stood together, bound by courage and compassion. The morning sun shone through the wide window of the medical bay. Zala woke to the soft hum of machines and the quiet voices of Earth doctors. Her side felt strong and her mind clear. She sat up and smiled when she saw John standing nearby. He bowed slightly and said, "Good morning, Princess." "How do you feel today?" Zala touched her bandage. She said, "I feel well. Stronger than I expected. Thank you for saving me." John stepped closer. He said, "You saved Earth too, by trusting us." "It was an honor." Zala looked at the room. Dr. Brooks and other staff moved about, cleaning and checking records. She said, "I have learned much here. I saw fear and chaos, but also courage and care. I saw people help each other. I learned that strength can come from kindness." John nodded. He said, "Earth has its flaws, but its people stand together in times of need." Zala stood and walked to the window. She saw the city below, bright and alive. She thought of her own world of calm symmetry, but she no longer saw weakness here. She saw life. She turned to John. She said, "I must return to Vire soon. My father will expect my report. I will tell him Earth is worth saving. I will offer a bond between our worlds." John's eyes shone. He said, "That is good news. But remember, Princess, if you stay a little longer, you can learn more. Our world is bigger than any council report. It is found in every heart." Zala smiled. She said, "I will stay for now. But I promise to return home soon. I will speak of Earth's value. A week passed as Zala studied Earth life. She visited farms that grew food under blue domes. She walked through bright forests where sunlight danced on green leaves. She watched children learn in schools where teachers told stories of stars and planets. John guided her to a human home. The family there welcomed her warmly. She ate home-cooked meals and heard tales of people who built hopes from small dreams. In every place, Zala saw care. She saw neighbors share water during drought. She saw strangers help in storms. She saw hope in tired faces. One evening, Zala and John stood on a hill overlooking the city lights. He pointed to distant towers and said, "Each light is a person. Working, living, dreaming. Earth is built by them." Zala watched the lights flicker. She felt her heart open. She said, "I once saw only folly, now I see purpose. I see people who fight for each other." John placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. He said, "That is why Earth endures. Because people care." Day by day, Zala's thoughts turned to home. She loved Vyre, but she knew Earth needed her. She knew humans could learn from Vyre's order, and Vyre could learn from Earth's spirit. At the outpost, Zala addressed the council by Hala. Her voice was calm and clear. She said, "Father, I have seen Earth's chaos. I have seen its flaws, but I have also seen its strength. Earth people live and die to protect each other. They show courage in fear. They show kindness in pain. I ask you to join with Earth, to share knowledge and care. Together we can face dangers beyond any world." Alone, on Vyre, the king consulted his advisors. They spoke of symmetry and fear. But the king looked at his daughter's words. He saw truth in her voice. He answered, "You have done well, my child. Earth has value indeed. We will send envoys. We will share our strength and learn their kindness. Let this be the start of a new age." Zala bowed her head, tears in her eyes. She turned off the Hala and looked at John. She said softly, "Thank you for showing me Earth's heart." John smiled. He said, "Thank you for giving Earth a chance." Before her departure, Zala walked once more through the city market. She touched a glowing stone and recalled its beauty. She listened to the children's laughter and remembered hope. John walked beside her. She said, "I will miss this place, but I carry it in my heart." John offered a small box. Inside lay a pendant like hers, but glowing green. He said, "A gift from Earth, so you remember our bond." Zala took the pendant. She felt its warmth. She said, "I will wear it always." Earth and Vyre connected by hope. In the sky, her ship awaited. Soldiers stood ready. Zala turned once more to John and said, "Farewell, my friend." "Until we meet again," John saluted. He said, "Until then, princess, may our worlds stand together." Zala boarded her ship. The engines roared. She watched Earth fade below, but her heart stayed. And as the ship sailed to the stars, she whispered, "I will carry Earth's spirit wherever I go." In the silent sky, hope followed.